today feels like a hat day. So gonna be starting off the day with the hat. But one thing so last time I was so tired, I was so exhausted, I almost felt lightheaded driving after, I think it was leg day. Yeah, I did legs and my head was just pounding after the squats. And then I did leg press and then it happened again. Once I sat in my car, I don't know what happened, but I just felt really lightheaded and I was like on the way home. And as I was filming, I was like, dude, I can't talk and like drive at the same time. Like my mind was just like, I felt like my body, like I was lightheaded and I felt like every time I talk, it just kept exhaling. And I was like, I just need to like breathe, like cycle through constantly because I needed to catch my breath or something. But that was, so on Monday when I did legs, that was my in-body scan. So I'll put the stats right wherever there's space. I'll put the stats of the new in-body scan. I don't know what it all means, but my fat is down by 1%, but I have, like, here's the thing, like I have not been cutting aggressively, but I've been cutting out the fats. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, if me no eat fat, then why still fat? Like why, you know, but it's only been a month. But the good thing is my torso and legs are way, I don't know if they're way up, but they're up. My arms are still up as usual, but that's like expected. But as far as like, yeah, my torso and my legs, I think from the first one, it had the highest opportunity. So there was improvement there. Basically, I feel like I've just been putting on more muscle, but I'll be honest, I don't know what it all reads. Basically, I'm the same, more or less the same weight. I'm around the same body fat percentage, but then my muscle is up. So I don't know, like how much is 1% of my body fat? Like that's like 1 pound of fat, right? Like, wait, no, I'm an idiot. That's almost like 1.7 pounds of fat if I lost 1%. I guess for a month, that's not that bad. If I lost 1.7 pounds of fat, that's not bad. I am a little bit lower in weight. I started at 170 and I'm about 160, 167.4 is like the average. I'll hover between 166 and 168, but it's 167 basically for most days. So my weight, I've been eating more and I've been reducing fats. I've been slowly upping the carbs and flexing over on the proteins. But yeah, definitely keeping fat under like definitely under 50 grams. I'm hitting like around 40 grams of fat per day. And then, yeah, like to lose a pound of fat in a month, is that good or bad? I don't know. Well, I guess, yeah, like a pound and a half. 1.7 pounds of fat. I don't know if that's good or not, but I don't know. Yeah, I basically feel the same. I noticed that I look different, but from the in-body scan, that's the thing. Like I'm not supposed to be cutting fat, but it feels like everything is like the same. My weight's about the same. My fat percentage is about the same. I have more muscle, but I weigh this. I don't understand all this. If someone can explain to me what's going on, that'd be great. Don't worry, dude, I've got you. Guys, I just ChatGPT'd this. I just ChatGPT'd I threw my two, this is the editor's note, by the way. I threw in the two in-body scans and I was like, what does this all mean? And it says, the easiest way to describe your progress, I lost about 2.5 pounds of fat while maintaining muscle and my body fat percentage dropped by 1.2% in about 6 weeks. That's actually pretty good. I don't know why I was saying 1.5 pounds. That's like 1.5 kilograms. So, yeah, it's like I was like 1.6 or 1.7 kilograms or something, I forgot. But 2.4 pounds of fat in 6 weeks is great. Like if the weight that I dropped is fat from 170, I guess 169 to 166, 167-ish, and that's from basically like the fat, 2.4 pounds of fat in a month, and I guess it's like 6 weeks, in like a month and a half-ish, that's pretty good. So I just like threw that in. Okay, so the quick summary is you lost weight and body fat, which the weight I lost was probably from body fat. You kept your muscle basically the same, even slightly up, which means I need to go harder, I need to do more. Your body fat percentage dropped into the normal range. So at first it was 20.9% and then it dropped. I think the high end of the range is like 20%, like 10 to 20%, which 10 is crazy. 10 to 20%, and I'm now within range. I think I'm 19.4%, something like that. And then your overall fitness score improved. So overall, this is very solid progress and exactly what you want to see from a good cut / recomp. So I don't know, that was pretty good. Now that I like look at it in this context, I'm like, hey, let's go. 2.4 pounds of body fat in 6 weeks. I'll take it. All right, back to the video. Or I'll just throw in a ChatGPT. I just need the before and after. Maybe I'll ask David if he can send me the before. But yeah, I just like David said before. Actually, you weren't there. Before I took the scan, David was like, "Oh, well, it's just a data point. You know, you could have had a cheat meal right before or whatever. Like, it's just a point in time. But as you get more points, it like kind of averages out. So you kind of get like a more you get to see the trends, right?" So there was that, and I was like, man, I didn't know how to feel about all of it, honestly. But it seemed like there was some improvement, but I don't know if it's like as fast as I want. I don't know. I don't really feel discouraged. I'm gonna keep doing it, but I just don't understand what it means. I don't understand what all of it means, but I am just gonna keep doing my best. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep my head down and Forrest Gump it and not think about it and just do. So, but today is not any weight training, resistance training. I'm just braking. So, yeah, I'm gonna hit practice today. I'm gonna get after it, and I think today I'm gonna try. So I'm gonna do my head spin work as I normally do. I finally have a plan. The past couple weeks I had no plan. Today I'm gonna have. I have concepts of a plan that nobody has ever heard before, nobody's ever seen, a plan like nobody's ever seen before. It's a great plan, it's a beautiful plan. I'm gonna hit like 20 minutes of head spin, and I'm gonna work on my rounds, but I'm also gonna warm up and do like in between, like I'm gonna try to hit, like even if it's just basic footwork, just hit it on beat, and not like the obvious, not the obvious beats, but try to hit the in-betweens with my steps. Yeah, hit the in-betweens, hit whatever. Like I'm gonna try to be on beat with my footwork, because one of the days after practice I was talking with Zeshin, and we were talking about, basically like I was rage baited into, because someone was like, and if you say this to me, I will get rage baited. But someone was like, oh, well, so I forgot which b-boy we were talking about. They were like, oh, well, so-and-so b-boy, they're not really dancing. And I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? Like, because I know what that person was saying was like, they intended to be like, oh, they're not doing top rock and footwork. And that's in this realm, in the breaking realm, that's defined as like dancing. While if you do power moves and freezes, if you do it on beat, yeah, you could be like, debatably dancing. But if you're not doing it on beat, then you're not dancing. So I like played devil's advocate. I was like, let me ask you this. Do you think Chico should stop what he's doing and learn footwork and top rock and stuff? Do you think Pocket should put a pin in whatever he was doing and start doing, whatever he wants to do? Or Lil G or Alvin or whoever, do you think that those people should stop, Monkey King, do you think that they should stop in their tracks and halt their progress of pushing the limits of power moves just so they can learn like some dogmatic thing? And at the end of the day, and so I didn't ask it like that. I was like, do you think Chico should have stopped what he's doing? And his answer was no. Because Chico, like without Chico, there wouldn't be like the air power combos. Like he's like an innovator. Like him working on that part of the craft allowed breaking to like expand in its own way. But people will be like, oh, he's dope, but he's not dancing. But I think inherently, like breaking is a dance. If you see like someone doing a pirouette or something, you're gonna be like, oh, like even without music, they're like, oh, they're doing ballet. If you see someone spinning on their head, you're gonna be like, oh, they're breakdancing, you know, or they're breaking or whatever. Like they're performing the form of the dance, like they're dancing. You can't say they're not dancing. Now you can say like, yeah, they're not dancing to the music. Oh, he doesn't really listen to the music. They're not musically inclined, because there are power heads and there are like footwork heads who, you know, do that, or top rock people who do that. But the most obvious thing, the easiest, lowest hanging fruit for dancing is top rock, because it's so easy. It's so easy to see that you can dance to the music, or like that you can move your feet to the music. It looks like you're dancing in the way that it's the most obvious interpretation of the music in breaking. And so when people are, oh, you know, he's dope, but he doesn't dance, like they really just mean he's not doing top rock and footwork. And what I'm trying to get at is, a lot of people will say like, oh, you know, like, you know, if you're not doing top rock, if you're not doing footwork, you're not really dancing. But you can play devil's advocate and go the other way around. If someone is doing power moves and they're not doing it to the music and they're just doing power moves, you can argue that they're not dancing. If someone is doing top rock or footwork and is not to the music, or has no interpretation of the music, then by that same logic, they're also not dancing either. So at the end of the day, you can have someone who's doing top rock and footwork only and are not dancing. So there's a lot of people that they're like, oh, you know, like, I don't do power moves, I don't do whatever, I dance, but they're not dancing either. You know, you're just doing a bunch of nothing, dude. You're not doing anything. So so basically what I'm trying to say is today, there's like levels to like footwork. The footwork move itself, like a 6-step, whatever, you know, whatever footwork you want to do, whether it's yours or a generic footwork step, it's the equivalent of doing flare, windmill, whatever, in its own category. You're doing a move in a category of breaking, and you can either do them to the music or not do them to the music. And a lot of people will like be like, oh, he's doing footwork, he's dancing. But if you're not doing it to the music, then you're not really dancing. So that's what I wanted to kind of like experiment with today, is like doing footwork intentionally, even if it's generic moves, but just trying to hit like those intricate beats. I took a workshop from Intact in Singapore in, I think it was like 2019 or something like that. And it was at the, what jam was it? Radical Force anniversary, I think. And he changed my perspective. Well, I kind of had this like feeling, but him as a professional footworker validated my thoughts on how footwork should be, in a sense, because the way he was teaching footwork in his, dude, what is this car doing? The way that he was teaching footwork in his workshop was like, it was all counts. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just had to confirm. I was like, yo, is this like choreographed? Like, how are you thinking about this? If you're counting at like 5, 6, 7, 8 every time, we're doing it, but we're not doing like a choreography in your workshop. So like, why are we doing it? And he was like, I'm counting because every step is to the beat. So every step that I want to do in a 6-step, all 6 steps hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then he does something else, finish the 7, 8. You know, so he's intentionally doing each step of his footwork to the beat. So it just like, it confirmed for me like, oh, he's not doing the counts for choreography. He's not just doing an 8 count because he's trying to get you to copy that 8 count and the 8 count is the template. He's just doing the step according to the music. But the way he can apply that step to a lot of songs is to do an 8 count. And then if he wants to switch it up with hitting a 1 or hitting a 8 and 1 or something like that, or breaking up the steps like 1 and 2 and whatever the pattern, he has like frameworks of steps to hit those. And that kind of like, I was like, dude, that's really, when you're doing footwork, when you're doing top rocks, that's really dancing. Because just fulfilling a category and checking a box is not dancing. So people that don't do power, and just do footwork and tops or whatever, sure, you can do that, that's fine. But you can't claim you're dancing either until you hit the same criteria. So like there will be clips of like Alvin like hitting the beat with his power, and you can't say that's not dancing. Like he's doing it to the music. And there are clips of b-boys who do footwork and it's not to the music, or they do top rocks, and it's just like it's the most bland, it's the easiest interpretation of dancing, right? So that's one thing that we talked about that I got rage baited into. But today I'm gonna work on head spin, work on like rounds and stuff like that, but I think I'm gonna try to just be intentional about hitting footwork stuff. I need to start doing more focused stuff in breaking, and just adding like small milestones I think is like the way, because I could be like, oh yeah, and I've been hitting like 30 flares, 3 sets of 10 flares at the end of each practice. I'll probably end up doing that still, but I just need like small little milestones to try and hit during practice, because for the most part it's pretty unstructured. I don't need it to be a full workout, but I just need some like kind of frameworks, at least mentally, to try to like hit. At first it was like, you know what, I'm just gonna break a sweat. I need to warm up like that, like have some focuses. But now I'm like, okay, like let me just start with footwork and then I'll go into more advanced things. Maybe I'll like have like more lab sessions or something, I don't know. But yeah, that's something that I was thinking about over the past couple weeks, and something that always fucking bothers me when people are like, oh, you know, he's not dancing. It's like, bro, you don't dance either. You not doing power moves, and you only doing footwork and top rock, and neither of those are to the beat, means that you're just coping for the fact that you don't have power. So that's some tough luck, you know. Like you don't have anything. At least the power guy has some moves that look cool. You're not doing anything. So unless you're like doing it to the music, so I don't know. I just that's one side of the philosophy of like breaking philosophy that it's like a segment of it, you know, because there is stuff about power that's like, you know, I could go into a whole section about power, but right now I'm just gonna, because of what I'm working on today, I'm just gonna stick with the footwork, top rock, music aspect of it, and it's gonna be very plain. I'm not planning to hit like intricate beats or anything. I'm just trying to hit like a 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like just hit an 8 count, you know. So it just really gets under my skin when people are like, oh, but he's not dancing. It's like, bro, what do? You're the one saying this, and you don't dance either. Like your footwork is like not to the music. Your top rock, you're barely hitting the beat, or you're like hitting the beat, but you're not actually like dissecting it with your movements. So like, what are we doing here? Oh shit, I need to get on the highway. But like, don't cope for the fact, like, power moves are objectively harder to learn than like footwork and top rock. And yes, when you get deep into it, there are levels to it. And yes, there are, like, it can be more difficult to impress someone with like really good footwork than with like a generic power move. But that's not my point. The barrier to entry for power is way more difficult than footwork and top rock, and that's just subjective. But people use that barrier and they cope the fact that they didn't make it past that barrier by saying like, oh, well, you know, I'm dancing. But you're not. You're just doing the moves that interpret dance at the lowest level, at the easiest way you can go. So whenever people are like really critical, like, oh, he's not dancing, like, really think about what that means, because it's just it's just cope, man. It's just cope that you didn't make it past the barrier to do something like difficult, because the people that do difficult things, they know, you know. So I mean, it's not just about difficult things, but you don't want your style to be like, you want what you do to be a choice. I can either choose to flare or I can not choose to flare, right? I can choose to do a power combo, I cannot choose to do a power combo. It's a choice. But some people are like, oh, that's my style. But it's like, bro, your style wasn't even a choice. You didn't even choose to do that. That's all you can do. you know? So is it really your style, or is that your limitation? Because you're not doing anything. Like, you're not choosing to turn off the power moves. You're not choosing to turn off the freeze. You're not choosing to turn off the hard stuff. All you know are easy stuff. So then you're just gonna be like, oh, well, he's not dancing and I am. But that's disingenuous, is it not? So, I mean, that's just my take. That's just my take on it. Before anyone can speak on like dancing and skill or whatever, you gotta have it, man. That's it. But yeah, anyways, that long rant for me to just go out there today and try and like just do the low barrier entry stuff, but do it well. I'm gonna try to do it the way that was intended. But I'm gonna warm up first with some of that concept in mind. I'm gonna do head spin, about 20 minutes, some combos and rounds, and then I'll try to incorporate that footwork mentality into that, and then I'll try to finish off with 3 sets of 10 flares and see how I feel. I'm kind of using that as my barometer or my gauge on how I feel strength wise, but who knows? I gotta make sure I warm up. I gotta make sure I warm the hell up. So yeah, I'm gonna get there, I'm gonna get hype, play some music, and then we're gonna get to practice and get after it. What up?
And if you're still giant and doing nothing, then you ain't worth much. Sweet songs, you said, what I come again. I mean, they get in like the sun. Shine on those in our midst, and still warm.
go. Hey. Nice. 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 Down, 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 yeah. There you go. Back down, put it back fast. Down. Yeah. When you put your hands up, you're like, you know, so you gotta like make it quick. Like even if it's just like this. Like I'm like not giving any no air. I'm not like waiting or anything. I'm just like immediately next, and then you can start spacing it out. So like here. As you get used to it, you can keep the same speed, but you just pull more. Yeah. Yeah, like that. Yeah. Super small. Yeah, super small. Super small and fast. Yes. Small and fast. Yep. Quick. Hey. Like at this level. Yeah. So for you, I wouldn't worry about like letting go. Just get the small reps in. Eventually, as you get used to it, you'll start going more. Yeah. Yeah. I'm also getting used to like. Yeah. You'll get used to everything, but just the small taps, that'll automatically start going more as you get more comfortable. Yeah. Oh shit. Let's go. Hey. Nice. Hey. Nice. Let's go. Let's go. Nice. Let's go.
To the break and originate, innovate from 20809. You know dub. Passing on to my boy Joe Easy. Yo, what's the deal? With the B-boy Joel, AJ, and Dizzy. You know how we do.
Let's go, let's go. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes. Let's go. Hey.
To the big bulls that come get me. Animal like the bone collector, gold shield, brand soul protector. You heard the transition, 6-speed transmission. Used to cook on the stove and didn't listen. Grandma kept, niggas kept switching. Rolls Royce coupe, pull up, the girls was hot.
You know you can't mess around. You been everybody down. All the forces, see we drink rape. See the point where your chicken is trying to make me. I told you. Oh God, get some. I'm gonna take a boy out. Yeah, I'm gonna do up again and drop it with the pedal to the floor. You know, we never stop. There you
go. All right, practice is done. I did a little bit of the footwork thing that I was talking about before, not as much as I wanted to. I'll be honest, I was not a fan of the music today. Played a lot of the old classics, but I am tired of the old classics. But today was for the old heads. We had our resident DJ Winston asking to hop on, but then they were like, "Oh no, like we got another person on," and then we have another person after them. Basically, it was like the queue was booked for DJ, and today was for the old heads. Today was for the OGs. So gotta respect them. Played their songs. Had some fun. It was a good time either way. Still didn't stop me from doing what I intended to do. I did my warm-up. I did my head spins. And the warm-up was to the music. I tried to do that to music. I tried to do the rounds and then the footwork to the music, like all this stuff. There were things I could have done differently. Like I could have stacked footwork with the rounds, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going for quantity right now. I'll just do like short bursts of stuff. Like they don't have to be like full out rounds or anything. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna go crazy. And also, like, if I was loving the music, it would be a different story. But don't want to make excuses. I hit my 30 flares at the end, 3 sets of 10. That was good. I felt okay doing them, pretty much the same as last week. During the head spins, I think when I went back down into stab as I was finishing, I felt like I tweaked my back a little bit, but it didn't really affect really anything at all. So I just kind of was like, oh, like I'll just monitor it and then I'll see where it starts getting worse, but it didn't. So that was like good prevention wise. I was just like, all right, like I need to find out where I need to chill. And it turns out maybe it was like doing like stabs and stuff or from headspin. I didn't have any problems, so it was good. Overall, it was good practice. I feel like vibes-wise, it was not there. There have been practices where it's either good vibes or good energy, By energy, I mean like physical, like I can push myself, not like, you know, vibes energy. That's redundant. But yeah, good vibes or good like physical, like I feel strong, you know, it's either vibes or strength. And today was I guess I would say a strength day. My head spins were really good today. I felt really fucking good doing my head spins today. So I need to like capture that feeling and like bring that to the next practices, because I was like, all right, I'm gonna focus. I was watching my footage as I was editing and my head spins. I was like, I need to glide more. I'm like spinning, letting go, and then after I'm done with like 3 or 4 glides, I like stop. And I'm like, yo, I need to glide for 3 or 4, however many spins with no hands, and then catch it back in a tap. And I need my taps to start getting longer, more spins between taps. So that was my focus today, because last week and the week before I was doing it and I was gliding, and then as soon as I finished my glide, it was over. And so I was like, all right, like I need to change that. So that's basically like an overview of what I did today. And yeah, I felt great. And then afterwards we were just talking about, well, we were talking about a lot of different things. I don't know if I should, here, I was gonna talk about like my, kind of like my breaking history, but I feel like that doesn't, I don't know if anyone's interested in that, but I'm gonna pop off on my corrupt judging, because we were talking about, or if anyone is in the breaking community, you'll know this, that like some judges will like step down when their crew is judging because they don't want like bias, they don't want to like introduce bias and stuff. And you know, that's like fair and stuff, but I was like, oh, you know, I don't want to admit that I would even vote for my crew, you know, for my own crew. And I'm not in a crew anymore right now, as of right now, and I don't plan on being in one. But I was like, you know, like I'm like above that. I'm not gonna let people's perception of me, despite my crew battling and I'm judging, that if I step down, that would insinuate that I would vote for my crew, my own crew, and I would have a bias. But I'm not biased. I'm gonna vote as objectively as possible when it comes to this competition, right? And then so like I would judge and vote, like I would judge my crew pretty like critically and pretty harshly. Oh, you're not hitting this, you're not hitting that, whatever. And during some times I would be judging, I'd be like, oh, well, I'd be extra critical of my crew to be like, you know, to be fair and to be like, you know, to push my crew. But what ended up happening is I would end up not voting for my crew, and then someone who I didn't really intend to win, or I didn't want to win, or whose ideologies don't align with mine, they would win. And now I'm like starting to see, and in breaking, there's a lot of like judging politics, like a lot of people like, oh, like it's a stigma for someone to like vote for their own crew, or, oh, he's your homeboy, you just voted for your homeboy. And at first I like, you know, it's very frowned upon, and judges don't admit it. Judges don't admit this thing, like, oh, like, yeah, I'm just gonna vote for my boy. But that's where I come in. I'm not afraid to admit that now I'm just gonna vote for my homeboy. You know, if the skill level is equal, why would I not vote for someone whose ideology aligns with mine? Because if you think about it, there's like, okay, there's generations of b-boys. Okay, so there's like maybe b-boy Bourne's era, and then after Bourne, everyone started the big Zulu propaganda really like propagated in like the late 2000s and early 2010s. There was that. And who puts b-boy Bourne in that position? Judges, right? So your judges are kind of like dictating where the path of breaking goes. So I can list a couple, like I'll use this as an example. You'll have like Issei on his generational streak in like the mid 2010s era, and from Issei having his generational run, you have b-boys like Isin, Hero 10, Tsuki, Shigekix, all those like Japanese kid b-boys, the next generation who's popping off now. They were all like from Issei. And who put Issei there? The judges, right? Things would be different if someone else was in Issei's spot having a generational run. Does that make sense? Like, so yes, these b-boys, like for example, like Thesis or Victor or Issei, who have had like long sprints of influence, and not just influence, but influence from winning jams, right? Someone has to put them on that pedestal to continuously be winning jams, and it's the judges. And sure, you can say like, oh, you know, they won it fair and square, they are dope, and objectively, like, they're of the skill level to be, you know, like, up in that spot. I'm not discrediting them. What I'm trying to say is that they, like, when it comes to that level, like a world-class level, it just comes down to either are they your homeboy, or does the ideology align with what you want, the direction you want breaking to go. And judges won't admit that. Judges will just see the battle and be like, oh, I thought he did better, I thought he did better. That's in the micro. In the macro, the judges are actually making a decision that will change the direction of breaking. Because imagine if Issei never won like jam after jam after jam, you may not have as many Japanese b-boys that are dancing the way they are. You may not have the Shigekiks, the Isins, the Hero 10s, you know what I mean? And before that, if you didn't have like the Thesis, you may not have the Alkalils or the Emirs, right? Like you might not have the Phil Wizards, all the people that are dancing like kind of abstract, right? And then, you know, there are other iconic b-boys who have had a streak of winning. And what puts them there is the judges, right? And no judge will admit this, but yeah, it comes down to like, it's either they're your boy or their ideology aligns with yours. And at the highest level, it's like you rarely see crashes, and if you see crashes, like execution becomes like such a small, like minute like thing where it's like you're not like, yeah, you could really like mess up and lose a battle, but it comes down to like preference essentially. And that preference for judges moves the needle in the way breaking is shaped. Imagine if Born never like continuously won jams. Imagine if Gambler's Crew never continuously won jams in Korea. The trajectory of breaking in Korea, the trajectory of b-boys that follow under that influence would be completely different. So what I'm trying to say is that what we're talking about after practice today is that I'm out here, like, I was voting critically of my crew, and someone else with another ideology was winning, and then my crew's ideologies never got propagated to the top. They never got boosted, and my old crew. And I was like, yo, like, hold on, I'm making a mistake here. I just need to be voting for my boys or whoever aligns with my ideologies, because I need to boost that ideology and propagate it to the top, so that way breaking can be in a state where I want it to be, right? Like, no judge will admit that, but I think that's basically the mentality. And like, if you're truly honest with yourself, like, that's basically like the way to vote. Unless it's like a complete blowout, your boy completely crashed, it's obvious, stuff like that. That's all minute stuff. I'm talking about breaking at like a high level where people are performing at their best or whatever, you know. But I was like nitpicking and being so critical. Oh, you didn't hit your thing or whatever. But it's like, yo, like, maybe my crew had a lot of great ideas. They didn't fully execute the way that I see them at practice, but it's enough to get the ideology across, like, oh yeah, like, this is the idea of breaking that my crew represents, right? And it then, like, maybe, like, you know, if I'm judging, there's two b-boys with two different approaches to breaking. Maybe one might have like a traditional, like, Zulu, say traditional Zulu style or something like that, and then I have my crew, like, who's doing, like, you know, like threads, or like they're doing a little bit abstract stuff or whatever, like they're just being a little bit more progressive. You have Republicans versus Democrats, and traditional conservative b-boys, and then progressive democratic b-boys who are like a little bit more free in their movement or whatever, and then versus like a rigid guy, right? And I'm out here nitpicking my crew, or my, like, the one that obviously aligns with my ideologies because of my crew. But because I was so nitpicky, the conservative Republican b-boys, the Republican Zulu b-boys win because they're, you know, because my crew accidentally, they weren't hitting their threads as good as they were at practice. And I was like, wait a second, I just propagated Zulus to the top. I just propagated, I'm just like throwing out names that are familiar in the scene, like styles that are familiar in the scene. But I just propagated this ideology to the top. But like, should I be doing that? That doesn't really make, like, in hindsight, you know, maybe that my crew still executed. I was just nitpicking too hard on them. But at the end of the day, who got propagated to the top? Who's gonna change the direction of breaking, you know, in my local scene? Or, you know, if my crew continues to win and this just adds on another tally on the board, then maybe more people will see, like, oh yeah, like this approach to breaking is valid, and it's not only valid in terms of like winning, but it's also like valued. It's valuable, you know what I mean? So like, people, like, it's just something that I don't think even judges think about it like that. Maybe they think about it in the moment and they're just like, you know, they make their decision however, and maybe they make their decision how I used to make it. But if you put me on the judging panel now, and this is why you should never have me as a judge, it's either if the skill level, okay, if there's not a skill level discrepancy, I'm gonna vote for my preference. You know, if there's not a skill level discrepancy, and if everyone's executing their approach to breaking in the way that it's intended, then I'm just gonna vote for my boy, or I'm just gonna vote for who aligns better with my ideologies. Like, but yeah, I was like, is that a hot take? Is that like a bad take? Because at the end of the day, like, I'm not. It's like so hard to. If you start nitpicking the side that you're on, because like, oh, like I do threads, for example. Like I'm a big person. I do abstract threads, right? And then I see someone doing threads, and I like the style, but he's like not really doing it in the way that I want it to. But then you have someone who's doing like, you know, the Zulu style, and I'm hating on Zulu Kings right now, but I'm just like throwing out something that's just like, you know, on the other side of the spectrum. But if someone's doing like a Zulu King style, I'm like, I could nitpick the threads and the abstract style because I do that and I'm familiar with that. But if I really want this, you know, if I really don't want the other ideology at the top, I'm not gonna vote for them. But this is why I'm never judging anything. Well, not really, but I'm like telling the mentality, and I think the approach to a lot of judges who aren't willing to admit that. They'll say in the moment, oh, you missed that thread, or oh, like I like this step that you did, or oh, like you looked fresh, yeah, you looked to the music, all this stuff, micro stuff. But really what it comes down to, from what I see, it's ideology. And maybe I'm a big like conspiracy theorist, maybe Bourne being voted on by all the judges. I mean, he was good for his time. Thesis 2, Victor, Issei, Shigeki, everyone who's had their runs, right? Phil Wizard, like they're good, but there are a selection of top b-boys, and whose ideologies get propagated to the top, like that's up to the judges. Maybe there's a big conspiracy. Maybe there's a big like Illuminati behind it, just controlling what direction breaking gets pushed to. But yeah, that's the conversation that we had today, and I was like, if it's up to me, I'm just gonna vote for if the skill level's like about the same, if there's not a blowout in skill level, shit, I'm just gonna vote for my boy or someone who aligns with my ideology or whatever, you know, like I'm gonna admit it, I'll say it. Does that, I feel like that affects, I mean, who's asking me to judge anyways? But I feel like that should be a more accepted approach to judging, because you basically hold a lot of responsibility in the direction of breaking, you know, because you could win a small jam, a qualifier, and then if the other judges like it too, and it aligns with their ideologies, then it just gets pushed to the top. And yeah, like, so I think like, in terms of competition, it does steer the trends in breaking, right? There's a whole section about breaking that's like an art form, and the approach to breaking, it's not always from a competitive standpoint. But you can't deny that although breaking is an art and you should approach it as one, the competitive aspect does drive a lot of b-boys into the direction that they go in based off who's at the top and who they're seeing, you know, what's trendy. And it's not like, not every b-boy is breaking has basically been gamified. Not every b-boy is approaching it like, oh, this is like a personal, like artistic thing for me from the get-go. Maybe some are like very like, you know, competitive and they want to win and they're going to do what it takes to win. So there's different approaches to breaking in terms of like why you do it, how you get started, how you develop your own self in breaking. But when it comes to like, I'm talking generally about like, you know, what dictates the trends. This is like usually what, you know, what happens. So we were talking about that and I just thought it was super interesting. And, you know, I was just going off the dome and I was like, wow, like now that I think about it, like you shouldn't have me judging your jams. You shouldn't have me judging because unless I mean, I'm being very honest here. So maybe you like the honesty, or maybe I'm just kind of spitballing and it's gonna bite me in the butt. But I mean, nobody who's asking me to judge anyways. But I think what I am saying is true, and judges will not admit that. Big judges of the day will not admit that. I did do a judge analysis a long time ago when I think Silverback was the thing. My friend and I looked at every judge vote at all the Silverbacks, and I think Wing or Skim, I think it was Skim who was judging. There were some recurring judges for each jam, and there wasn't one battle that Issei was in who Skim did not vote for, in which Skim did not vote for Issei. Every opportunity that that Skim had as a judge to vote for Issei's battles, he always voted for Issei. There wasn't one battle where he didn't vote for him. So, I mean, Issei was killing it in that era. But what I'm saying is, like, there's got to be something there. You know, maybe there's some ideology thing when he sees Issei and he's like, that's what I think. You know, he's breaking in the way that I want him to break, right? And when you see that, you're just like, that's it, and you vote. And then there were some judges that were a little bit split, a little bit, you know, less consistent, ones that were, and you can kind of tell you can guess who's voting based off ideology as a whole, as a macro, and maybe who's voting in the moment of the battle. And maybe neither are wrong, but I don't know, I'm just like, that's just a pattern I noticed. And this was like all the way in 2020 when everything was shut down and I had time to scrape every single battle and look at, because there were some new judges, there were some judges that didn't come back, but then there was a roster of recurring judges for that. So I needed like recurring data points for like to actually get a sample size, and recurring competitors. A lot of the Silverbacks in the mid 2010s had recurring competitors: Thesis, Hong Ten, Just Do It, Issei, Shigekix, right? Like, and you could kind of just see where, and I think Lil Zoo and Gravity, so you could see like who continuously voted for who over time. And so I don't know, maybe that is like the macro approach to judging. And then there's like micro things like your performance, your execution, musicality, all that stuff. But I think overall as a judge, if it were me in the driver's seat, fuck it, like I'm gonna vote for my boy. If it's not a blowout in skill, voting for my boy, voting for whoever aligns best with my ideology. I'm going, you know, if I'm a Republican breaker, conservative, traditional route, or if I'm like this progressive Democrat, wants to see a change in breaking, backbendy, pikes and all that stuff, then I'm gonna vote for that. So that was just an interesting conversation that we had today. I was gonna pop off on something else, but like my breaking history and what led me to be so, I guess I sound a little bit bitter sometimes about breaking or something like that, but that can be for another time. Either way, I had a great practice, and I'm looking forward to the next workout. I think my next workout is Thursday, and it's a pull day, and then push the next day. So it's going to be a packed schedule, but I'm looking forward to whatever's next. I feel great. I'm just going to keep going at this, and hopefully I'll get better and better, especially feeling wise. Like, I don't really, right now the skill for breaking doesn't really matter that much, but if I can just improve my feeling day to day across everything, then that's a win for me. So yeah, I'm gonna get home, have dinner, and let's call it a night.